Hi everyone, Maggie here. I am working on cleaning up the sleeve edge here and just doing a little bit of basic cleanup with my serger on my seams. I switched to a 4-thread edge and had to work a lot with it to get the tension just the way I wanted it. So that is what I'm doing next. Just to clean up this edge that's going to be against my skin. So it's going through the elastic, so it's okay. Just have to make sure everything's flat. Did do a little bit of pressing on this. I just want to make sure that these seams are open and that they're flat. And then every time you change your fabric, you sometimes have to work with your tensions on your serger. I have an older serger. They have new ones that have automatic tension now. This one is one of the older ones, so I have to kind of like work with it. You know, the thread matters, and the also the type of fabric that you're using. This fabric is very thin, and I had to like kind of adjust my tensions and the feed on it to get it just right. So I'm going good and kind of slow. Just the way I want it. Make sure my fabric is flat, but I want to have like a nice neat seam underneath. And give myself a good thread tail here. So I'll try to show you. I went back to the 4-thread, and that's what it looks like. So that'll be really pretty solid underneath the arm there. So what I'm doing now is I am just cleaning the bottom edge of my piece that's going to be hemmed, but I just want to have a nice edge that I can fold up and, be folding up about 1/4 of an inch at the bottom and rolling it under. And so I'm just still using the 4-thread right now because and just give me something to roll up easily. The edge that I can fold under. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. It's not going to show, but and also it'll prevent the fabric piece from fraying when I work with it. Just basically make it a little more manageable. seems to stay open, so there we I'm trying to finish this up. Put this project up. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, and I think I might be wearing this Mother's Day. There we go. Okay, so I had to adjust the tension just a little bit. To loosen it up just a little bit, the thread that's on the edge, because it's going to be folded under. So, yeah. Hi, everyone. I am pinning my facing to the front of my shirt. This is my center front here that I marked blue. You do have to clip in order to get the facing to fit in, especially with the stay stitching. So I pinned my end. You do have to, this little elastic, you have to kind of fold it out of the way. If you give it a good stretch, it will generally go in. And I think if there is any kind of like excess or whatever, the feed dogs can probably deal with it. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Get this completed. Maybe one more pin on this side and then do the other side. And then we'll be sewing our facings in. So, and I did have to clip it a little bit, all the way up to the stay stitching to get it to fit in. I think it's made, cut that way or whatever. So that is what I'm working on right now. I did find the middle point, and I put like a little V there. And this is the middle point of the back right there where I have that pin. So yeah, that is what I'm doing right now. You'll either have to lengthen your facing a little bit to get it to fit in right, or else clip it. I guess it's made to, they want you to, I guess, fit it in that way. But that is what I found out. Especially since I ended up deciding to interface it, and it makes it a little less stretchy. So did have to put the clips in. So that's what we're doing right now. You can see that little blue line is my stay stitching on the you can just barely see it through there. It's the stay stitching on the facing. So yeah, so that's what I'm up to. It's going to have like a little turn to it, because when you sew it, it gets sewn down the side there. So it'll look, everything will be enclosed nicely. So I have my dot there, which is actually up a little too high, but it's going to be like a 5/8 seam. I did trim it a little bit because when I had constructed it, when I had done the construction, I put in wider elastic, which I'm actually glad that I did that. I put in wider, I put in 1/2 inch elastic instead of 3/8, which is in the sleeve, top of the sleeve. For me, I think for somebody who's like a plus size, that is a good adjustment to have it like a little bit wider. So yeah, so see, you do see I have to stretch this just a tad, and when I sew it, I'm sure it'll go in fine also, but might have to do one more clip to get that in there good. So yeah, yep, so that's what I'm up to. And hello everyone. Okay, so I'm installing my facings now. This is the front piece. I have to just kind of feel where that elastic is, because I want to catch it just right. So I don't want to like sew into it, but that seemed to look nice. So I'll take a few stitches here, and then I can take my pin out. Okay. It's 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Once I get that, get right up to that edge. Hopefully that worked out nicely. Take my pins out as I go. Seems to be going on okay. Then I'm going to be understitching, doing the understitching before I attach like the leg. I'm going to be doing my understitching. Now I have my line here, I just set over a pin, where I have to kind of like turn the corner, just right here at that blue line. Turn the corner there. I want to get a nice corner. Going a little better than I thought. Hi everyone, Maggie here again. I'm attaching the back facing piece here. One of the things that I did find when I did the front was that this corner just really wants to cause a pucker. Where the elastic joint. So I just drew a little blue line there because I want it to butt right up next to it, and since it is kind of like a corner, it just wants to act up a little bit and cause a pucker. So let's see if we can kind of like get the corner in here without causing a pucker. So I've got my blue line, and then I have to stretch. It's 5/8 of an inch, and I need a lot of pins to kind of ease in. There's a little extra fabric that you have to ease in. Make sure that this piece is kind of straighten that out a little bit. There we go. Just kind of pull your pieces so that they're abutting properly. Okay. And what I decided that I'm going to do is I am going to, before I tack down the facing on the side, I'm going to understitch, do some understitching just to get it neat. So you have to kind of stretch the facing, and kind of feed in the underneath fabric, make sure it's flat as you go. I can just kind of feel that it's flat. Okay, and I got my blue point here that I want to. I think in this case I'm going to have to sew over the pin here just to make sure I get it right. Okay. Have to see how that turned out. Okay, so this is what it looks like. This is the back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this down and understitch it, and then I can attach this other leg of the facing. So that should, and I'm going to trim it down quite a bit. I actually was considering serging it, but since it's going to be understitched, I think probably just if I trim it, that should do the trick. And I had to get it right up next to that elastic because it's going to go around that corner. That was a little bit of jury rigging, so to speak. So I am just trimming this pretty close to the stitching line there. Okay. As you can see, I might even have to clip it again a little bit more to get it to go in nicely, nice and flat. Nice and flat. And then I think it should look nice. The corner is kind of tricky. And how it looks on the front of the piece to get it just right. That's the only kind of drawback, I want to say. Okay. Now let's see how it looks. Not bad. Not too bad. So for my understitching, the fabric is going to be stitched towards the facing, like that. So this is my front. I did trim that also to about 1/4 of an inch, between 1/4 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to do a little bit of clipping on that. So just you know, and then I'm going to press it, and then I can do the understitching before I do the other little leg of the facing, and hopefully everything will lie flat on this. Just tiny little clips. Okay, so I'm going to start the understitching just inside the elastic edge. So it's, you know, starting in from the seam allowance, because that is going to be tacked down. So that is what our next step is. Okay, it's a little different angle. Just doing the understitching. It's about 1/8 of an inch in. This is the front. And I'm just running the seam is like right on it goes in the inside there of the foot. You can see that's the underneath. I did a little clipping, and I'm coming up on the V there, so we'll just stitch to that edge, and then we'll have to turn around and go in the other direction. We'll stop here. So I just wanted to show you how this turned out. I haven't even pressed it or anything, but I think there's just a thread there. I think that, okay, this is the V, which I'm happy with how that turned out, and it's going to look even better once I press it. And we're going to, you know, this is the understitching, now we have to deal with this funky edge here where the elastic joins. So I wanted to do the understitching first, and I just understitched right to this edge here because this has to be attached. So this goes like this. So I didn't understitch that area. And this is going to be sewn down, and that is going to kind of finish off that kind of like corner. So we're going to do that next. So what I am trying to do here is, this is the funky corner. I got the elastic band here. I have the facing up against the seam, and I'm gonna try to stitch right on the previous seam line there. So it'll be neat, or just right inside it, if possible. We'll see how that turns out. This is what my sewing line looks like, and you have to trim off all this excess here. This is actually the corner, which I did in 2 steps instead of 1. This is just the sleeve. I'm working on the sleeve here, the casing at the bottom of the sleeve, elastic casing. Sewing this, and then I will be putting the elastic through this. It's for both sleeves. So I'm measuring the elastic band, what I'm going to need. So about that much, because give a little bit for overlapping. Okay, I'll cut it right there. So I'm feeding the elastic through. I'm using 3/8 of an inch. I have it like pinned in here so it won't slip through accidentally. And I'm using a safety pin, if I can find it, right here, to feed it through here. There we go. Okay, out this way, and then I can join those ends together. Adjust it just the way I want it. Okay. So I'm gonna sew my elastic together. I'm gonna use a zigzag stitch, and I'm gonna trying to make it well thinner, and let's see, not as long. Let's try that so I can get it good. Actually, I think I want to make it a little bit wider. Let's try that. This is my Janome Memory Craft 9850. I do have another older machine. Let's try that. Here I'm just closing up the opening at the bottom of the sleeve. I'll be tying off those ends. I'm just doing like a little rolled hem. This is the hem of the shirt, and I'm just doing a little thin, like 1/4 inch rolled hem. This is like the edges is serged here, and then I'm just gonna roll it over. I serged it, and then I just do it like that. I'm not even gonna pin it, just I did press under the edge a little bit. So this is the finished top. You can see the little sweetheart neckline and the puffy sleeves. I will have to wear a camisole under it because the fabric is a little bit thin when I tried it on. I'll try to see if I can get a picture of myself wearing it. Okay, thanks for watching.